This episode is sponsored by ChaviD Properties. Think, create, build. What are you building? I need you guys to understand the amount of respect I have for my sponsors, past, present, and future. It takes a truly visionary leader to understand what I'm doing with this platform, to see how a partnership can benefit us both, and then actually put their money where my mouth is. Every single one of my sponsors usually has someone within their organization who is a god and sees the vision. Could be the CEO, the founder, or just someone in a position of power. But once my proposal hits their table, they know. My next guest happens to be the CEO of ChaviD Properties, the latest sponsor of this podcast. He was a fan before he decided to become a sponsor. The company's tagline, Think, Create, Build, embodies that God idea I speak about on the daily. Talk about the most organic of brand partnerships, which is why I'm happy to introduce to you my next guest, Charles NwaDavid. Charles is a vibe. Everything about him is intentional, thoughtful, stylish, and everything he touches turns to gold, which happens to be his favorite color. ChaviD is a combination of his first name and last name, in case you missed it. He's a bright, ambitious young dude who is doing great things and good things. Yeah, there's a difference. So much so that The Guardian named him one of the most impactful CEOs of 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, this man is a god. And there's two sides to my conversation with Charles. Side A is about his life, his work, his mentality, and how he became the way he is. And side B is where I asked him the most random yet personal questions. Questions he never expected. Questions where he had to actually think. This was so much fun, and I hope you guys feel that when you listen. My name is Rodney Omokache, and you're welcome to The Young God. It's been a long time coming.
Yes, been a minute, my man.
Wow. First of all, the blue is a very good look today.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
For those who are at home and they can't see this, he has a blue hat on, a blue fedora, yes, blue kaftan, navy blue, all navy blue, with gold accents going on there. He has like a gold pen in his pocket. Yeah, black watch, black slides. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're also the owner of ChaviD Properties, which is why we're here today.
Exactly.
Like, right off the bat, what's your story? Like, where do you even begin?
It's a very long one, but I'm going to try and summarize it as quickly as possible.
Okay.
Right? I always like to start off with my family. I'm from a family of 6 kids. I'm the first. We had a whole lot going for us as young kids.
Yeah.
Then I could say it was like fall from glory, but I want to believe that everything happens for a reason. That was the beginning of what has brought me here so far. So I was pushed to go start doing things at a very tender age. That's when I bumped into real estate. But before that, we were selling phones, just trying to make ends meet and stuff like that. But back then in school, from the Blackberries to the Nokia N96 way back.
Oh, yeah.
Right? A couple of these young chaps, and I don't know what the Nokia N96
They don't
is,
know.
right?
Good phone.
Way back, right?
Yeah.
To the BlackBerry touches. Then we dabbled into real estate, right? It wasn't like somebody held my hand and put me through into real estate. It was because I just needed to feed, right? So back then I started out as an agent. When you wanted to rent an apartment in Guax, I was your go-to guy, right? Yeah, so whoever wanted an apartment, I was there to help secure that, right? Then we increased and became proper realtors. And from there, we started developing, right? But we're developing for private individuals. I started developing for private individuals. I studied accounting. So I basically don't have the technical background in terms of schooling. I had to go learn everything. I believe so much in personal development. I believe so much in self-education, right? So I had to learn everything hands-on. So I started building, knew how to negotiate with artisans, knew how to negotiate with vendors. I had to work on my leadership skills, my communication skills, my people skills. There's a whole lot of skills you need to learn if you actually want to get to the top and stay on top, right? So that's basically what I had to go through that has brought me to where it is that I am right now.
What's the first book that you read that got you into that?
I could give you, I could talk.
It's always a book that starts a journey, right?
It was Rich Dad Poor Dad. I know a whole lot of people it may sound cliche. A lot of people read the book, but the point is, have you applied what the book spoke about? Yeah. Until, as he said, until what you know becomes what you do. What you know, you don't know. Right? So until you begin to apply what it is that you read in this book, you don't know anything, right? So I picked up that book. I was given that book as a young teenager by my dad. I never read it. So I got bored one day in school. I was looking for what to do. And I just stumbled on the book. It was just in my wardrobe, so I picked it up. But prior before then, there were a whole lot of questions in my mind, right? That's why I believe so much in the scripture that says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? So I picked up that book. And I opened it, and it was like somebody took cobwebs out of my eyes. I'm like, what I have been looking for is right here. That was it. A light bulb went off in my head. I read that. I went on to Think and Grow Rich. I went on to Secret of the Millionaire Mind. And the books I have both in my office and in the house started from that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad. If you can hear my voice, if you haven't read that book, go read it. Even if you've read it, go back and read it again. I never read a book once. You must read it over and over and over again, right? And make sure you apply what you read. Stay with it, and definitely it will make a difference.
For me, the book that got me, thinking different about life in general, also at a young age, I think also in uni, was The 48 Laws of Power. Ooh. When I read that book, and I read it at a time when I was kind of in a transition in my life. I was coming from school where I was like the class clown, and I was trying to figure out what kind of person I wanted to be going forward, with my unique, personality and skills and whatever. I didn't even have skills at that time. I was like 17, 18. I was just a young guy. And I read the book. When I picked it up, actually, I thought it was going to show me like how to control people, how to run, But then what it did was it showed me that power is not really about controlling others, but behaving or developing yourself in a way that makes people want to be under your influence more than anything.
Exactly.
And it was like such a 180 from what I thought. And from that point, I just began to understand the world, understand life, right? And then, here we are. So I guess I can relate in that, when it comes to personal development, there's always a book that sparks it. And that's how the Young God now became. It wasn't called the Young God at first.
I love that name.
I know, right?
That was the first thing that caught me when I saw it. I was like, the Young God, this is different, this is unique. When you name things around you, it gives you an insight to the mind that created it, right? So I can relate with that. The Young God is actually very unique.
It's perfect.
It's beautiful.
Speaking of names, NwaDavid, ChaviD.
Yeah.
That's like a no-brainer for you when starting your business.
Most definitely. So I think I came about the name ChaviD back when I was still in school. I've always been a dreamer. I believe so much in visualization, right? Where I am right now, I saw it 8, 9, 10 years ago, right? Like I said, as a man thinking in his heart, so easy. So there was a day, I think we were just playing cards on the table. I went to see a friend, then wifey, in case you hear this, forgive me, Sandra, right? So she was just a friend back then in school. Yeah. And we were just playing games, right? Just what students usually do back then. And after we were done, I was just on the table and I started scribbling because I had a whole lot of thoughts. Then I used to journal. I still journal, but not as much as I did back then. Yeah. So I started scribbling. I came up with different kind of names. I came up with the logos and what I wanted to actually achieve. Then I just said, okay, why not get something out of your name? So I started playing around. I wrote down my first name, second name, and the third name. So I was just playing around. Then it hit me. Not instantly, though. After so many trials. So I picked the first 3 letters of my name, Charles, and the last 3 letters of my surname, NwaDavid, which is VID. And that's how it came about, ChaviD.
And you haven't looked back since?
I haven't looked back since. Our mission is to positively impact humanity. That is the why. That is what is driving us. Real estate just happens to be the vehicle that we're going to use to touch people from all walks of life, right? And I'm one who believes that if you want to impact the next person, you must first impact self, right? So you must first impact yourself before you impact the next person. You can't give that which you don't have, right? So that's how I came about the name.
Okay. So let's go back to business, to real estate. It's daunting, especially in this part of the world. Tell me, like, what have you seen in these real estate streets, my brother?
If we talk,
bro. We have time.
Crazy, you know.
Yeah.
There've been a whole lot of challenges, right? But that's why I said mindset is everything. You have to have the right mindset. I read something once. It said, positive mindset will not solve everything, but it's better than having a negative mindset. Never respond negatively to a negative situation, right? So whenever I get faced with challenges, I try to see, okay, what can I learn from this? Yeah. How do I grow from this, right? Sometimes it's daunting. Sometimes it can be tiring. Anybody that tells you he hasn't gotten to a point where he's like, what the F? What's happening right here? Will be lying to you, right? So I have been at that address severally, from artisans to theft, to people who are not straightforward, to fraud, to the economy. See where we are right now, right? I just even don't want to start going into the politics of it. So I faced different challenges. We've had theft. We've had people who claim to be what they are not. They come, they give you a proposal, I can do this, I can do that. You give them the job and they just mess the whole thing up, right? Then to staffs, right? I've worked with different kind of people, right? So the challenges has been enormous, right? But again, I'm one who likes to see the good in every situation. I don't focus on the problem. I'm more solution oriented. So I welcome it. I got to a point where I said, okay, where I wake up every day just looking for the next challenge, because I know problems is what help us grow, is what help us become the better version of ourselves. So basically, that's just it.
Yeah, something I always say to myself and to people, that life is problems, living is solving problems.
Exactly.
Right? And like you said, it's all about mindset in the end, especially in this country where it makes it so difficult to be your best self. It's all the more, like, you know what, you could live in LA, you could live in Paris, you could live in nicer places, and, you know, even there you still need to have a mindset to even like thrive there.
Exactly.
But if you're in this place, it's all the more reason. Like, you cannot be...
It's imperative.
Brittle.
You can't. Nigeria will crush you. But again, we have to be the ones to change it, right?
Yes. I feel like the only hope I have, what I like to think, is that at some point, you know, things are gonna like recycle.
Exactly.
This batch of leadership is gonna, you know,
fizzle out.
Yeah. And then what I worry now is like how we are gonna be. You know, are we gonna be different? Are we gonna like fall into the same habits? You know, I can speak for myself, but I don't know about, you know, others, because what you notice is that at some point you become what you hate.
That's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not paying close attention to what's going on within you and outside, you become what you hate.
Exactly.
And it's a thin line between Nigerians right now, young Nigerians who complain about the thing, when they have the chance,
what do?
They'll probably do the same.
Exactly. So
you know?
I think we need the right set of people to hold power. And it starts with the kind of mindset that we're drumming into ourselves right now.
Yeah.
I know it's far-fetched. A whole lot of people believe that. But I want to believe that Nigeria will be better. I have that conversation a whole lot, and people are like, no, Nigeria's not going to be better. It's going to take forever. I said it starts with you and it starts with the mind. Again, as a man thinking, it's not so easy. If you believe Nigeria will be better, you will think of ways to help Nigeria become better. Yeah. But if you resign yourself to say Nigeria will never be better, you will do things to make it worse. Yeah. So I believe Nigeria will definitely get better, but we must be the change we want to see. We can't keep saying Nigeria is not going to get better and expect Nigeria to get better. You know,
very often people say that. I have skepticism about that. But with you, I believe it. You know why I believe it?
Yeah.
Because a good way to judge these things is the kind of environment that they run in their workplace, the way they talk and see the world. And one of the first things when I got to the office that one time that we met, I noticed the energy was very different.
Yeah.
I'm very good with these things. I noticed in the staff, the way they're moving around. I noticed how the person who introduced us together, she spoke highly of her experience there.
Yeah.
So all of that was getting me excited about meeting you and having this conversation and having this partnership.
Yeah.
Because you want to work with someone who is of that kind of mind. I know we all know people that stress you out.
Exactly.
Like if you stress out your staff,
Yeah.
it's very likely that you stress out your clients.
Exactly.
It's very likely that even the work that you build, the properties that you build, there's gonna be some shortcuts.
Yeah.
Some bad blood, maybe with some contractors here and there.
Exactly.
So really and truly, it does start with the things that you used in your home, how you run things.
Exactly.
The kind of good faith you have with your wife, the good faith you build with your staff, the way you run business. And if there are pockets like that exists within the country, there's always hope.
Always.
You know what I mean?
Always.
If people can really focus on the little communities they're building.
That's it. So a whole lot of people are saying, he's a criminal, she's a criminal. My first question is, what are you doing in your own little space to make a difference? Because they said you don't grow big to manage well, you manage well to grow big. Some people are waiting to go very big before they make a difference. But if I give you 1,000 naira, you can't manage it. If I give you 10 million naira, you won't be able to manage it. So the first things first, what are you doing in your own circle? How are you making a difference? Again, you can't give that which you don't have.
Okay, now I want to give a quick shout out to my sponsor, ChaviD Properties, a luxury property developer based in Abuja. They are building something really special over there in terms of a sustainable company culture, sustainable housing that could counter the housing bubble and make life easier for a lot of people in the future, while serving their high-end clients at the same time. It's visionary. Check them out on social media at ChaviD Properties. ChaviD Properties. Think, create, build. What problems are you trying to solve and for whom when it comes to ChaviD?
Okay, first things first, like I said earlier on, is to positively impact humanity. You may see that is very broad, right? And why I'm saying that is because I do not want to be just narrowed into one certain space. I want to be able to touch as many people as possible, right? So first things first, I said we wanted to use real estate as the vehicle. We have a housing deficit in Nigeria. It's crazy, humongous, about 22 million. Right, from the last time I checked. And currently we have a housing production of 100,000 annually. That is too little. It will take us forever to be able to mitigate the housing deficit. So what we need to be doing is both public and private partnership. We need to be building a minimum of 1 million housing units annually. That's the only way we'll be able to close that gap in about, say, 20, 25, 30 years from now. Because we have a growth rate of 3.5%. So Nigeria, we're on the increase. So that housing deficit, if we do not tackle it ASAP, it's just only going to become worse, right? So it's crazy. So we, as a company, we're looking to do 80,000 units, right? We want to do 30,000 units here in Nigeria and spread 50,000 units across major cities of the world. And a large portion of that is going to be both in Nigeria and in Africa as a whole. And in doing so, you're going to require a tremendous amount of funds. You're going to require resources, both tangible and intangible resources. You're going to employ a tremendous amount of people. Doing that, you're touching people's life, both directly and indirectly. Building these estates, you have to build up infrastructures, right? Doing that, you're also helping with the infrastructural deficit we currently have in the Nigerian space. So it's intertwined. So when we say 80,000 units, it's not just about the houses. There is a whole lot of things that go into it, right? There are vendors that we need to buy things from. We're going to be giving them funds, right? It's putting money on their table. There are engineers, site architects, QSs, project managers, a whole lot of them. So that's our way of giving back to the community and also impacting Nigeria as a whole.
So after you've built all these houses, right? The next thing is the rent.
The rental. Okay, so the rent is not necessarily the rent. Why am I saying that? Because a whole lot of them is for people
sale.
to buy.
Okay,
Right? We're going to be working with NHF, right? Because in the 80,000 units, we're going to be also going into mass housing on the long term.
Yeah.
Right now, what we're doing is premium and luxury units, but on the long term, we're looking at mass housing because that's where a large portion of the housing deficit is. So that's what we really want to attack, right? And in so doing, you have to create a mortgage system because not everybody is buoyant enough to bring as little as 15 million. Forgive me, some people may not see 15 million as little, but some people, it takes them years to get that. So we're trying to create a structure where it's easier for people to actually buy these houses on the long term. So we're working on that.
Yeah, please work on that because it is real out here. Like, there's nothing, when we have these conversations with our peers, we know what it's like when we're trying to think of our futures, owning homes and, and not just any kind of home, but a home that is
comfortable,
that's comfortable, that is good to look at, good to stay in, that is durable, that is not a fire hazard waiting to happen, So, and then when you think of Lagos, what their own crisis is like.
People live on water.
If you go inside this bathroom, right, that size of that bathroom can go as much as 500K.
I'm telling you.
Or more in Lagos.
I'm telling you, that bathroom right there, exactly. It's crazy. And people rush it. There are no houses.
People rush it.
People rush it. Trust me, people rush it. You see this, where we are right now is humongous. When it comes to space in Lagos, it's crazy. So when I go and see what people are actually doing there, I'm like, wow, we need to change this. We need to tackle it ASAP, right?
Yeah.
Create a solution and try and find a way to make things better, right? We will, definitely.
On the brighter note, what I like about ChaviD is the branding. Yeah, and and as someone who is a prophet, like I have an eye for branding, whether I'm noticing it or whether I'm working on it. I like what you guys have done. When I go to the office, I remember there's a board, a signage there that goes with quotes and things like that. I thought that was clever. I think that is something that the staff, first of all, seeing that every day subconsciously is working. So I like what you did there. It's like what the books did for you, those quotes are doing for them on a daily basis.
On a daily basis,
Yeah. I also like the efforts that goes into how you name the properties and the projects, the houses. I understand you name the projects after stars.
Yes, exactly.
And the houses after birds.
Yes, exotic birds.
Why stars? Okay, well, why stars and why birds?
Okay, so first things first, right? I do a whole lot of thinking and meditation.
Of course you do.
And we want to do 80,000 units.
Yeah.
And anywhere you go to in the world, be it in Ukraine, be it in Russia, be it in UK, be it in Kenya, Botswana, wherever it is that you go to, and you look up at night, you see a star. In that light, we want a situation where everywhere you go to in the world, there'll be a ChaviD property, right? So there's going to be a ChaviD in every continent of the world. So it was only right to name our properties after a star. We're very conscious about what it is that we do.
That's ambitious, bro.
Yeah, no, it is. It's humongous, right?
Yeah.
But again, say go big or go home, right? So we have an amazing team. We're scaling up exponentially, right? So we're going to be doing a whole lot of big things. So watch out for ChaviD near you.
No, we're watching out. Starting from this podcast. One thing I tell myself is you should at least get, every year you should get at least 1,000 rejections.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's my goal, 1,000 rejections.
Exactly.
Because obviously when you aim that big, definitely you're going to get,
Beautiful.
And anybody that decides to go on this journey with me, I understand that there's something about them already. Like, if you're a certain level of person, you cannot understand what I'm doing and you cannot agree to, put your name with this.
Exactly.
So someone that has the foresight, then the testicular fortitude, to say, I want to use a podcast as part of my, marketing strategy. I want to use this voice, tell the story. I want to see what this can do. It's a very bold thinking, way. So it really says a lot about you and where you're trying to go. So when you say some of these things, I believe you, bro. I don't know about you guys, but
they too, I believe.
But I believe you. Yeah. So I mean, I'm here for it. Let's see where it goes.
Yeah. Just to buttress on what you said, you were saying, you've gotten 1,000 rejections.
Yeah.
I need you guys to hear that. 1,000 rejections. That means he's trying. He's putting in the effort.
Yeah.
People make reference to the likes of the Oprah Winfrey's, the Michael Jordan, even LeBron James, right? they failed severally. But most people are not talking about those failures. They're talking about every time they got it right. But for every one good effort that they made 1,000 bad ones. So it's imperative that we understand that and not let failure be cloud our judgment or impede us from doing what we need to do. So put in the effort. Like they say, you aim for the stars, you don't get there, you land on the moon. I love what you're doing, young God. Rodney, this is beautiful.
Sure.
Wonderful.
From one God to another. Speaking of gods, I understand that you were featured in The Guardian a couple of days ago. That's what's up. And you were profiled as one of The Guardian's top 50 most impactful and award-winning CEOs that contributed to Nigeria's GDP growth in 2021. That was huge. That's a huge accomplishment. How does it feel, man?
It was amazing. When they reached out to us, I was like, what's happening? Is this actually a joke? What's going on here, right? And we started communicating with the team. It got to a point I actually forgot about it, right? And they reached out again. I was like, okay, we're going to get all the things that we needed to do. There was some vettings and back and forths and stuff like that. And eventually we did the needful and we were able to get on that platform. It was amazing. The feedback has been crazy. My phone has been blowing up, right? Because Guardian is like a veteran name. It's been there. It's a global brand. It's something that any brand wants to be affiliated with. So the fact that he actually reached out to us was amazing. And if you go through that list, you see CEOs of Fortune 500 companies. It was amazing to be among the likes of them from both the public and private sector. It was amazing. I'm honored.
You should be. I mean, that's a very glowing. You know what it means to contribute to Nigeria's GDP growth?
It was
in 2021, which we're talking about the year after the pandemic year.
Exactly.
So if you're contributing, it means that you're doing something right. So
exactly.
What you got to now think of doing now is you have to give us your business secrets at some point. So like, what comes to mind when you think of my number one arsenal in my toolbox for business?
There's something I coined called SMP.
Okay.
It still comes back to personal development. I speak so much about personal development, right? Because I believe so much in it. Even when Jesus was here on the earth, right? There was a point where his parents were looking for him. He was in the temple, learning. A God who came down here on earth. He was learning.
Right.
When he came to do miracles, once in a while he would retreat. He would go and be with his father, studying, praying. That is him working on himself. If you do not learn to go within, the external factors will bamboozle you. You will not know what's right and wrong. You must spend time with yourself. It's imperative. So I coined something. I learned this from Anthony Robbins a couple of years ago, and it's been amazing. It has helped me stay focused. I call it my SMP. S stands for spiritual health. M stands for mental health. P stands for physical health. S, I read the scriptures, 4 chapters of the Bible on a day-to-day basis. I pray. You don't have to kabash and all that, right? Just a short prayer can do that. Sometimes I actually do kabash and all that. M, mental health. I read, meditate, and reflect on a day-to-day basis. Imperative. Again, you don't have to do that for 5 hours. You can be as little as 10 minutes. But the point is, get your thoughts together. Visualize. Think about where it is that you want to go. Get grateful, right, for how far you've come. Some people are complaining that they are not getting a job. If you did not go for NYC, you won't be complaining about not getting a job. If you did not graduate, you'll be complaining about not getting a job in the first place. There are some people praying to graduate. You graduated, be grateful, right? The next one is physical health. I try to work out and watch what it is that I eat, right? I must give honor to my wife. She's been amazing. Does the smoothie, gives me the pears and the fruits and all that. So it helps out. So working out, as little as push up in your house. So that has helped me stay focused. If you work on your SMP, M will make you read books, business books. Because back to your question again, because you asked me what is the secret of the business. It's information. Information is the most important commodity I know of. I believe you would agree, right? Yeah. The difference between the doctor and a nurse is what they know, right? Why the doctor is called the doctor and why the nurse is called the nurse is because the doctor knows a whole lot more than the nurse. That's why he or she is a doctor. So as for the secrets of business, it starts with your mindset. When you see when you hear somebody is hardworking, when you hear he's tenacious, when you hear he has a very willed mindset, it all starts with what you have in your mind, right? I think I got this from Les Brown. He said, if there's no enemy within, the enemy outside can do us no harm. You got to work on yourself. That's just my secret. The long and short of it.
The long and short of it.
Yeah. Did I get you thinking?
Yeah, you got me.
I see you in your thoughts and all. Yeah.
Let's take a moment to pause and breathe. Relieve the tension. Whatever you're doing, close your eyes, take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. One more time. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Let's resume. So I was in Johannesburg I was in South Africa for 7 years, but my school was in Johannesburg, my uni. And when I moved back to Nigeria, after being away for 7 years... Seven.
Wow.
And I came back, and Nigeria was exactly how I left it.
Are you sure exactly or worse? Which was it? I think it was worse.
That's even more profound, yeah. It was worse than I left it. And that blew my mind. I was, 20, 21 years old.
Back then.
And I could not believe it. I was expecting to come back and, at least power would be constant, at the very least.
At the very least, my man.
But nah, and when you come back from a place like South Africa, where, all these things have been solved, I was like...
A working system.
So that was my motivation that, if I'm going to operate in this environment, I have to be a motherfucking god, man. I have to be above the nonsense.
Yeah.
I cannot be held back by the things that hold back the average person if I want to really, do what I think I'm meant to do on this earth.
Exactly.
So that was personal development was...
It must,
whether I like it or not. You get... So I definitely do understand, and I just hope that anyone who's listening, because people take these things for granted. They think that, they think we're talking too much.
No, what is saying Bobo juice?
They think we're saying aspire to inspire to respire.
Don't be aspire to inspire. These things actually do work, guys.
It's lifeblood,
Take it seriously.
Yeah.
I tell my team members on a consistent basis, right? Because we give out books on a monthly basis, right? We read on a monthly basis.
Oh, really?
A book a month, right?
Company culture, I love it.
Yeah, no, it's imperative because a lot of people ask, okay, why do you put so much time into this? What about if they are no longer with you? I'm like, okay, what about if they stay? Do you want to create a culture of people who don't have the right mindset? Again, I can take this shirt off you. I can take your watch. I can rub your shoe. I can't take what's in your mind.
Never, yeah.
That's how Nelson Mandela was able to spend an ample amount of time in the prison and still come out sane.
Yeah.
He worked on his mind. You got to not be aspire to inspire. These things do work. Take it seriously, fam. Regardless of whatever it is that you're doing, be you in politics, be you a bricklayer, whatever it is that you do, man, you got to work on your mind.
What was your mindset when you were thinking about, okay, I want to have this environment, I want to create this ChaviD company culture?
My thought process was, first of all, love, right? I think that was the greatest commandment that we're ever given. I think someone asked Jesus, what is the greatest commandment among everything you've stated here? And he said, love that God with all your heart and your neighbor as yourself. Love. So we coined something, we call it a family away from a family. Don't get me wrong, families do have their disagreements.
Yeah.
You're going to have the disagreements, but the point is, knowing fully well that this is a brother, a sister, and uncle, how you relate with them, how you respond to such disagreements will matter than a total stranger.
Yeah.
Remember, you can be in the same space and this person can be a stranger to you. But it's imperative that we created that culture, right? And have that foundation to go from, right? So that was my mindset, right? So love, personal development, two go hand in hand.
Well said. And I'm going to give you your flowers again right now. So when I came to your office and I was speaking to Uche about just my initial impression, I said to her that you can tell a lot about how they're going to do business based on how they treat their staff.
Exactly.
One. Two, company culture it tells of a founder, a CEO who is thinking long term. Because it's not just about those who are here now. Yeah. You're basically creating a scenario where you're attracting top talent going forward.
Exactly.
Because every business is defined by the talent they have.
Exactly.
You want the best accountants to want to work for ChaviD.
Exactly.
You want the best administrators, secretaries, whatever roles you're trying to fill up.
Technical guys, civil engineers, you know.
You want these guys to be able to speak, because words go around. You don't know where it's going.
It's powerful.
You know, and it's long-term thinking on a level that a lot of Nigerian businesses do not, have. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, the week before this weekend, I released an episode with Edoro Abebe of Vanilla.
Vanilla.
Yes.
Off Ghana Street.
Yes. They celebrated their 14th year.
They've been here for a long time.
Recently, exactly. And I cannot think, there are not many eateries or restaurants or lounges that have been here for 14 years. Every year they're rebranding or they're closing down, but what it says about, and I was able to pick his brain, and he was echoing some of these things in his own way. Having that company cultural mindset, thinking of how the experience you want to create for your staff and for your customers.
Exactly.
That, sure, there'll be a new girl on the block that pops up. You go and try them out. You go, but you always come back when the chips are down, or when, like, if at top of your head you need to like tell someone where to go. Vanilla. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that again, you got to get your kudos for that.
Yeah, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. It's amazing. It's important. You understand? How you treat your people matters a whole lot, right?
Yeah.
Because it will reflect on your customers, your clients, and what it is that you're trying to achieve in the long run, right? We're not short-term. We're not short-sighted. We're thinking about the bigger picture, right? So it's not just about one unit now or 2 units, right? It's about the long term. So how you treat your people matters a whole lot.
If you made it to the end of this episode, you're a real one. Thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, there's a whole lot more where that came from. Just scroll down, you'll see all the range of topics, guests, stories, whatever. I've put in some work for you guys, so there's something for everyone. I release episodes every Saturday at midnight, and depending on my mood, I might release 2 or 3. I can be generous like that. So don't forget to subscribe and leave a review if you feel so inspired. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and follow the podcast on Instagram at The Young God Pod and Twitter at I Am The Young God for exclusive content. And just, we're in this, man. Thanks again. Rodney Amakache, out.